What stopped you from committing suicide? Heard my name screamed while I had a gun in my mouth. Got me started down the spiritual path I'm on because of it. I woke up in my own vomit, my body rejected the cocktail of pills I took. If my body was still trying to survive, then I guess I should keep trying to survive. After that I stopped caring too much about things that I couldn't control and just live my peacefully. There's two things, really. My most realistic option for the act was jumping the local bridge, but I was worried that I'd just break my legs and be worse off. The other thing, I kid you not, was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4. It was coming out week to week when I was at the lowest point in my life, and a friend mentioned that I should watch it. I had the actual, legitimate thought that I don't want to do this tonight because JoJo will be on tomorrow, chuckled to myself in the car about it. Please remember that things get better. My dogs. I couldn't bear to think about them and where'd they go. My co-workers are incredibly inept and I can't help but think of all the things that would not get done. Thinking that no one would make my big sister's hot chocolate at 2 in the morning or bake her cookies while she would watch Naruto. She is not living with us anymore and has her own happy little family. But I am so happy she asked those little things when she did. Made me feel needed. My dog. She's gone now, but I'll be okay. For Rosie, 2 hearts. In my first depression I was 9. Stupid me asked my mom if I could put myself and the house on fire. Bless her for taking me seriously and going to the ER immediately to talk to someone. My second one. I work with and train assistance dogs. I've been doing it from when I was 14, working with assistance dogs anyways, when my second depression hit. I'd been struggling with school and the taboo about autism, the judgment about it and the label I had gotten. Every time I stood either on a high point, literally, or really wanted to stab myself with a knife in my hands, I got reminded that I'm not alone. And that the dogs I work with are amazing and they deserve someone that, as I realize now, takes good care of them while training them. Someone that's special. Now I know how cocky it sounds for calling myself special. But for the road I've traveled and the way I've lived, being on the edge of fighting dark thoughts every day, it helps saying that I am perfect. As perfect includes the many flaws one has. My best friend committed suicide first. It broke me, and made me realize I could never do that to my mom, family and especially my friends. It'll be 10 years this year. Me, 19, my brother, 18, had been through a lot of shit, so knowing that I'd leave him alone and add another shitty thing to the list was why. Marijuana. Please don't. Call search for help. The mother of one fiend suicided because he had cancer and he was going to die. After she did it, all the family was broken and my best fiend died thinking that it was his fault. The father had depression and get out of the job and the sister is still hurt. Please don't. Weed. It saved my life. Also my kids. I wouldn't let them live thinking that they weren't enough for me to stay. Not me but a friend, he decided to call the suicide hotline but he was pretty set on suicide. He waited and waited but they didn't even answer. It got him to look at the bigger picture and he decided life was worth living. He now works as a civil engineer and has a wife and 2 kids. Love you Johnny, now and forever. 100% spite. I was like fuck you God, I will show you. Throw your worst at me and be ready for a cage match when we meet one day. I know it's foolish and kinda mental to think like that but I have dealt with depression most of my life and dealing with the occasional manic episode. It was in one of these said episodes that I proclaimed this. I am not a good person but I do not back off proclamations that big. Side note. I am not religious at all. Just fun to blame someone for the randomness of life. I got myself to a hospital and got help because I thought to myself that even though back then I didn't see life to be worth living, there might be a time later when I do. I'm happy I did. It's haram, that's what stops me from even seriously considering it in the first place. The dumbass voices in my head got the better of me and told my therapist before I could do it. Curiosity, adrenaline and new interests. I'm fucking dying anyways, in 35 years max, let's see where this shit goes. If it's dangerous or extreme I try it. By looking for death I feel alive. Therapy first. Then as a close second, knowing what it would do to my family and friends. My mother committed suicide when I was a child, it changed everyone. I wouldn't wish that horror on anyone. The thought of people saying my mother didn't do a good job raising kids, my mom is the best ever, after my dad died she has done more than enough for me and my siblings, that too in a very conservative and dangerous part of the world where women get stoned to death. To think that I am in a better place because of her, to think that I have far better opportunities than most of the children because of my mom, I just couldn't suicide. Me. I am both the warden and the prisoner. The idea that my mum found my 6-month-old brother dead and fucked up our lives have become because of that, and how it had just add to that. Convincing myself that the manic state I was in was temporary. Food. I just love food too much. The possibility of unveil at least a tiny glimpse of what life and the universe really mean, both through studying my ass off and psychedelic experiences. My son, because I know it would crush him. I don't want him to end up feeling the way I feel, and if he does one day I want to be there to support him through it. Fear of the afterlife. I'm not religious, but if religion was real, then that's something that would suck to be wrong about. The effects it would have on my son. It's the only thing that has kept me from doing it several times over the last few years. Keeps me going, and I imagine I'll pull out of this funk eventually. At my lowest, it was anime. Watching Naruto, Dragon Ball, etc., especially Naruto, the guts to never give up, celebratory gesture. Now I am good, well, recently got rejected by crush but it's not that bad, embarrassed smiley face, well I guess I will not go into the shithole of depression again, one time experience is enough for me, peace sign, peace. My dog. My cat. I was so ready to die, planning it out, and then he nuzzled my leg. Suddenly all I could think about was who would love him when I'm gone. I couldn't leave him. I didn't have anyone else within 450 miles to support me, but damn it, his little meows and nuzzles saved my life. Quantum mechanics. Gonna die anyway, might as well wait and see what happens. TW, self-harm. Okay, so this is going to be a stupid story or whatever. I am gonna try to make it short. I have had a sad life. Yes, I had a house, water, food and clothes, but I was just existing. I have never lived. I have never watched movies with anyone or had a sleepover. I never had friends. My parents are mostly absent and toxic, sometimes abusive. I was bullied at school and everyone avoided me like plague. I have been pretty suicidal all my life. My bully is extremely successful and she's still popular. Popularity doesn't matter to me, it's just she's had a good life whilst bullying me. I feel extremely insignificant and genuinely feel like I should die. I have tried committing suicide a lot of time. I would try to ingest toxic stuff or would cut myself to bleed a lot, sorry for graphic details. I have never spoken about anything that I am still going through. It was my birthday a few days back and I had been planning to end it all that day since a long time. I had taken time off my classes and just made time to kill myself. No one had time for me on my birthday. I get it, everyone's busy. My friends didn't even text me a happy birthday. Like they were texting in the group but never wished me. I was very much hurt. All this is not a big deal obviously, but I was just not in the right mind to feel it. I wanted to see my friends but everyone was busy. But this one friend, she reached out to me. She wished me a happy birthday and then said she wanted to see me. She took me out to have pizza from my favorite place. And then she took me to a bakery and bought a cake for me. I've never had anyone buy a cake for me. We usually cut a cake at home, but I've never been outside for family dinners on birthday or whatever. My friend seemed genuinely happy and she started saying that I absolutely deserved a day that's only about me, and this may not seem like a lot, but she dragged me out of my house to celebrate and she really helped me. She wrote a note for me and then gave it to me. She texted me afterwards and also said that she was happy that she was able to make me happy. I don't know, I still feel pretty rejected but not enough to kill myself. I have been 2 days clean from self-harm and it feels kind of good. So yeah. My 1-year-old Labrador Retriever. Hope. I started thinking about one thing, that once I hit rock bottom there is nowhere to go but up. So I am still going, despite my personal life being ruined for months. I have nothing to live for, but hopefully someday it can get better. As dumb as it sounds, a song from the Undertale soundtrack came on at just the right time and I just stopped and looked at myself in the mirror and broke down. I couldn't do it anymore and just kinda cradled myself on the floor until the feeling went away. Cowardice. Mostly that my dog would have no idea why I didn't come home. Everyone else I could rationalize that they'd understand or not care, but my dog. She'd never know why I didn't come home, and that makes me too sad to ever leave her. I decided to tell the girl that I loved her. It's been 4 years and I rarely think of suicide anymore, from hours every day the last decade. I never thought it could happen like this and I'm so glad I never went through with it. My little brother got home right as I was about to kick the stool out from under myself. I didn't want him to be the one to find me. I have to outlive Mitch McConnell.